Thank you. I've never personally understood the supposed conflict between science and religion. Throughout my life, I have felt the most certain of the existence of God while learning about the complex and highly specific ways life manages to sustain itself. One memory in particular was during a biology class in high school. We were learning about ribosomes and protein assembly, and I will admit that I had to Google terms like cells that zip and unzip along something to find the name for what I was remembering. And I don't know what any of this means, but I do know that while I was listening to the teacher explain how each biological building block clicks together so perfectly in order to do its crucial work, I was filled with awe and wonder at the brilliant design of life on a cellular level. I saw God in the way that the ribosome perfectly zips and unzips along a line of mRNA, supporting health and life by doing whatever it is that the ribosome does. I don't know, and it's been a very long time since high school biology, but I know that it is miraculous and necessary, and for some reason, the image of this cell, so perfectly designed for its job, floated into my mind as I reflected on the idea of community health for today's Cherish chat. We often use the body as a metaphor for community. We are the body of the church. During our conference, we are moving and voting and listening to the will of the body. And I'm drawn to this idea of us as tiny individual cells, creating a body bigger and more impactful than any one cell could imagine. It makes sense to imagine that we cells form groups like hands or lungs, all of which help to make up and support the whole. I'm also drawn to this analogy because bodies are messy and weird and don't always work right. Bodies need help and healing and sometimes even drastic treatment to be healthy. So, what does it mean for the body to be healthy? What does it mean for this body to be healthy? We often mistake an absence of conflict for health in communities, or we hold fast to the belief that health looks like being nice all the time, or minding your own business. And don't get me wrong, within the parameters of community health, there is a time and a place for minding one's own business. But community health is not measured by adherence to rules or standing back and observing surface-level behaviors. It isn't something we achieve once, check off our list, and then sit back and enjoy, much like love and what Bishop Dottie mentioned in her talk. A healthy community is both unobtainable and immediately available. Unobtainable because it's never fully reached. We can never check health off of our to-do list, but immediately available because the ability to make choices that move us in closer alignment with this value is already in our hands. Think of it as functioning like the North Star. It's invaluable to keep you heading in the right direction, but it provides no maps, and you will never actually get to it. Community health is not a benchmark we accomplish, but a decision we make over and over again. Moving together in the direction of health does not eliminate sickness or suffering. It isn't meant to. As long as we are a body, sickness and suffering will happen. It is in our response, in our choices, that we co-create a healthy community, that we move in the direction of a healthy body. Now, bodies come with a system designed to detect and respond to illness, injury, or harm, the immune system. If we are cells that make up the body, do we have an equivalent system to support community health? Well, the community immune system is trickier because it doesn't happen automatically. Unlike the cells in our bodies, we don't always know the best way to help and heal. We might be aware there's a problem, but feel so small and uncertain in the face of it. However, just like the body, each cell, each of us, contributes to the health and functioning of the whole. So let's look at the process of choosing and co-creating health, the community immune system, or how we, as individual cells and the body as a whole, work together to heal and protect. In a community immune system, there are 4 steps that describe a healthy immune response. The specifics can look very different depending on the type of hurt or sickness being responded to, but the components remain the same. It starts with the ability to receive. A healthy community must detect harm. It has the ability to see it, feel it, receive it. A healthy community knows that harm can exist even if not all the parts feel it. A knee injury will not cause your pinky finger to hurt, but a healthy body knows that all parts are needed to work together, even when not all parts are impacted. Without the ability to receive and believe the alerts to pain and sickness, we run the risk of allowing problems to spread and worsen. Sickness becomes systemic, and damage becomes permanent. Diseases like racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, abuses of power, betrayals of trust, rejection of children of God. Without vigilance and a robust immune system ready to recognize and believe indications of illness, these diseases can be allowed to take hold and infect every part of the body like a cancer. A healthy immune system is made up of cells able and willing to sound the alarm, to send an alert when something is wrong, to give voice to pain experienced or pain observed. We must set aside worry about making too big a fuss or resist the comfort of assuming everything is fine. Sending and receiving alerts is not the sign of an unhealthy body. It indicates a functional system that is attuned to itself. It acknowledges that when there is injury or threat to any part of us, we all must be prepared to receive and respond. So a healthy immune system begins with the ability to receive signs of a problem or need. Without this, the rest of the response will always be behind, trying to catch up to the growing cascade of problems that come from ignoring or disbelieving signs of harm. Second, regulation and role. A healthy community is made up of cells who take care of themselves. There are many ways the cells of the body can be damaged or sick, just like we as individuals can be. And that's okay. The wonderful thing about a healthy body is it can keep functioning while cells heal themselves. And that is true for a healthy community as well. Not every alert requires all cells to respond. It is our individual responsibility to check in with ourselves and be honest about our capacity and ability. Before reacting, before responding, choosing to pause and look inward, asking ourselves, how much space do I have to give to this before I start giving away parts of myself? Can I assist while keeping myself healthy? What are the limits I need to establish and communicate in order to keep from being consumed? How will I know if I become overwhelmed, dysregulated, or unhelpful? What is my plan then? In addition to regulation, I also lift up the importance of role. Not every cell can do every job, but as we discussed with the ribosome, certain cells are exquisitely designed for certain jobs. Know your design. What are your strengths? In what areas would other cells be better equipped? Where does your role begin and end? Just because you have the abilities to embody a role doesn't mean it's the role needed at that time. I often wrestle with this as I juggle the various roles in my life. Just because I have the ability to be a therapist doesn't mean my friends want me to click into that role. I know. And although there are many roles I step into in my home, my kids need me to be mom. Others can fill roles like coach or tutor, but I am singularly equipped for what is needed to be in a role as their mom. You have roles where you are singularly equipped. In this, you might hear echoes of 1 Corinthians 12, where Paul talks about the different parts of the body that work together for good. Should you decide that you do not have the capacity or the ability or the proximity or the desire to respond when an alert is received, thank you for taking the time to look inward and determine that before deployment. And you still have an important job to do. You need to prioritize your health. You need to do the work necessary to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. All cells contribute to overall health, sometimes by being part of an immune response, and sometimes by taking the time to heal and restore your own well-being. Being healthy is knowing that although you are a cherished and integral part of the community can carry you when you need it. It means trusting that you can say no when you need to, and you will remain cherished and important while the work keeps getting done. Skipping this step can hurt our overall health. Not taking the time to self-assess or communicate our limits can lead to exhaustion and burnout and feeling like you're being taken advantage of. And if you are on the receiving end of a boundary, health looks like accepting it. Let's normalize receiving a no with no challenge, guilt, or pressure. The way we communicate and respect boundaries contributes to the health and functioning of the community. Third, response. Now, this is where people often think community health begins, but as we've established, a healthy response requires the first two steps. There are many ways that a community can respond to a problem, just as there are many ways the body responds to illness and injury. But a healthy community responds with intention and clarity of purpose. Do you know what happens when the body's immune system rushes in and starts attacking everything it perceives as a threat? Autoimmune disorders. My son has type 1 diabetes, which happened because his immune system, guided by a genetic echo, responded to an influenza infection by going haywire and attacking his pancreas until it no longer worked. The response, meant to heal and restore, caused irreparable harm to his body. We similarly have the potential for unintentional harm if we are not thoughtful and clear in how we respond. It requires coordination across the many cells of our body and groups and systems to ensure that we aren't making assumptions or operating on autopilot with a one-size-fits-all approach. It also needs to be said that a healthy immune response can sometimes be unpleasant or even painful. Just ask anyone who has had food poisoning if they enjoyed their immune response. The purpose of a healthy response is not, I'm sorry to say, immediate comfort and relief. Now, fortunately, we have different tools at our disposal for our community immune system, and we can offer the immediate balm of compassion, listening, and presence. But the work of restoring health, well, that work can be harrowing. Unearthing hidden or long-forgotten injury, finding sources of pain where they were not expected, debridement of what blocks healing from taking place. These are painful, messy, and sometimes heartbreaking steps toward health. Responding to pain, injury, or disease in our community is work, and healing takes time. But if we are guided by our connectedness and commitment to each other and the whole, we can reframe our approach from one of targeting sickness to one of centering health for all. We all benefit from a healthy community because we are all connected. Although an immune response means sending resources and focus to the impacted area, we, as a healthy community, recognize that our individual and collective ability to thrive is linked to one another. And fourth, remember, the immune system works because it remembers. It doesn't sweep under the rug or operate without accountability or records. It learns from the threat it has faced, and it uses that knowledge to create immunity and a more efficient response. We, collectively, must also remember. Now, this is different from forgiveness or grace, which I hope will be used generously in the response step. The memory of the body is not because of a grudge or fueled by resentment. It is how we grow, maintain our progress, and guard against illness and disease. Our community memory strengthens our response and makes us agile and effective as a system. It also contributes to accountability, a necessary part of creating an environment of safety and healing. It also gives us the opportunity for another task of health, the making of meaning. The stories we tell about our collective past and what it means for our shared future. Yes, part of remembering is the record keeping, the administrative steps, the documentation, the follow-through. These parts are a vital part of a functional immune system. But where things get really exciting is in our shared understanding of what it all means. After my twins were born with a complicated and scary delivery, I read through the hospital records. It listed the interventions given, at what time, and with what result. And yes, the information there is valuable and accurate, but it only tells a part of the story. The rest of the story is what it was like to experience it. How do I narrate that experience to others? How do I synthesize those events into the rest of my life? And how have I been changed by it? The records are necessary, but they don't tell the story of their birth. Remembering is part of the mechanism that shapes our shared meaning, purpose, and values. Just as scars tell the story of injury, the body of our community carries remnants of injury and pain. It is part of our story, and by remembering, we are able to respond well and draw closer together in our shared history and understanding. When I began, I told you that I saw God in how the ribosomes munch along a strand of mRNA, and I similarly see God in the specific ways that we fit together to sustain our life together in community. By focusing on our community immune system, we create the building blocks for a thriving and healthy body. We can receive, regulate, respond, and remember. And it is through relationship that we have the opportunity to be healed and to heal one another. The ways we interact, the ways we have conflict, the ways we work shoulder to shoulder. In these connections, I also see God. These are the ways God works through us. This is how we cherish one another and move closer to health, one choice at a time. Thank you.